Welcome back to Feisty Chess. I've just been paired at a 15-10 game with Kautarab on chess.com. I'm going to play e4. I've played a couple games today. Here we go. There's the Sicilian. Let's go back to our Morra Gambit. d4. Planning on sacrificing a pawn here with c3. And then our knight will recapture. The idea is I got open lines for my bishops. My development happens very quickly. I have a central presence. He goes with a6 immediately. I think this means I better get bishop c4 in. Okay, he's kind of stumped me a little bit here. Let's get bishop c4 in before he plays b5. Now, queen to c7. Not sure what the best move is. Okay. Our knight wants to come to f3. d6. Now we just get castled, and white is way ahead in development. This is one of my favorite gambits. I'm a huge partisan of the Morra Gambit. Great book called Mayhem in the Morra by Mark Esterman. I am International Master Mark Esterman. Really converted me and made me really fall in love with this gambit. But I might be tested here. Knight to d7 is not all that typical. So I think bishop f4 kind of forces the issue here. Bishop f4, that really goes after d6. He's going to plan on knight to b6, but I can't imagine that knight is much good there. He's clogging up his queen side. He wants to play b5. Okay, queen e2. We'll stick with the typical Morra ideas here. Queen e2, and we're planning on rook f to d1. We're one step closer to finishing our development, while black still has two moves to make before he can think about castling. Okay. I'm thinking about sacrifices here. Should always consider that with the Morra, but I don't see anything immediate. So let's drop back. Knight g5 ideas might be good here. If he goes knight f6. Or even better, okay. Now I like the look of either knight d4 or knight g5. The idea is we're going to sacrifice on f6. Sorry, on e6. And we're also going to get f4 in. Should we just go for that immediately? Yeah, our rook is good on the f-file if we're going to play f4 and maybe crash through with f5. Knight g5 targets both of these pawns. I think d4 is more centralized. We'll go there. allows us to hop to f5 in some variations. Okay, he's going to defend like that. Yeah, knight c5 makes sense. Let's just continue with our Okay, I'm looking at f4. Maybe it's better to develop the bishop first, but there's not really a good place for the bishop to go right now. e3 makes some sense. No, I like f4. We might just do a the knight will be okay. I'm worried about our c3 knight. It'll have a home on a4. Our queen guards e4. Do I want to open the A file? I think yes. I put my knight on d4 for a reason. I think he had better there. I think b4 was the most testing line. I had bishop a4 in that case, so I could remove. That would force him to take my bishop with his knight. Okay. Okay, e5. My knight is hanging is the problem on d4. So maybe f5 is better. Let's go for f5. He could lock things up. We might just have a positional advantage. This often happens in the Morra. I'm imagining a line like e5, knight f3, if there's nothing better, and then b4, and then my knight. Never mind, that's not much of a positional advantage. I can't win the bishop. Looking at interesting lines with knight sacks on b5. There's also knight to e6, which is thematic, but I'm not sure it has much sting now that my dark square bishop is gone. Knight e6, f takes e6, f takes e6, bishop e7. I don't see any real follow-ups for me. I'm looking at knight takes, knight d takes b5, a takes b5, queen takes b5, queen d7 is forced. Rook takes A8, bishop takes A8, queen B8, queen D8 is forced. I don't see any killer blows there. I guess my knight can come to c2. This seems a little passive, but it at least stops b4 for the time being. So yeah, knight to c2. Where the knight can simply... Oh no, the knight can't take on b4. That doesn't work tactically. Looks like e4 is going to fall here. Try to get a little more comfortable. He doesn't go for it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get this knight to d5 then. And we will have our compensation. Knight b4 prevents b4 and prepares to jump into d5. Maybe after rook d1. Yeah, he needed to play b4 there. b4, it was too late. Alright, that was terrible. The reason it worked, obviously, is b4. If I go knight takes b4, then queen b6, check, block the check, king moves, whatever. He just wins the knight on the next move. Okay. This makes things a little more forcing. Once he castles, I might start to think about g5 ideas, g4, g5 ideas. But right now, I like the plan of keeping that pawn backwards on d6, keeping black's game cramped. Maybe we can even just go bishop. Bishop g5. Looking at knight takes e4. Bishop takes here. Knight takes. And I'm just up a piece. So yeah, bishop g5 does something useful with this bishop. And gets ready to maybe play a rook to the c file. There's no hurry to jump in to d5 right now. And actually we might trade off this knight and give black the bishop pair, but give us a knight on d5. Oh, I did not see this. There was a hurry. Brutal. Too many games today. Too many games. I needed to play knight d5 there. The tactic I had seen earlier, even. Alright. This does give us a chance to tear open the king side. But not really. Not really. Okay. I need some compensation in a hurry here. Just take with the light square bishop. If I go knight d5 here. So let's maybe plan an assault on the H file. It's a desperate measure here. Desperate times. I'll be happy if he goes for queen takes b3. I needed to find time for king h1. Queen to c7 completely threatened that fork. Seeing those queen forks, it sounds so simple. Okay, maybe is he thinking about sacrificing the exchange? We wouldn't mind that so much. Maybe we can provoke a weakness over here. This is the kind of game I would not put on YouTube if I didn't promise myself I'm going to put all my games up. So there's that. I'm still down the pawn too. And a whole piece. Yeah, he goes for that. Okay. That's some compensation. He goes queen takes e5 here. I'm thinking just queen h5. He goes for that. Have any rook sacks here that work? h6 is the obvious retort here. Queen h5. Let's just get this rook doing something. We have time for queen h5 later. Queen also watches f7. It's important to note. All right, h6, and then what to do about e4. Nothing, I suppose. I suppose rook to e1 would have been more responsible than rook to g1. I had ambitions of pushing my g-pawn, but... Huh. Okay. Let's take our chance to do that now. Well, at least we're making him think. Okay. Queen g4 looks good here. Maybe threatening rook takes h6. King h8 or h7 seems like a sensible response. I'll have to look up the opening in my Mayhem in the Morra book. Black played this pretty unorthodox. Got me out of my lines, and it's been a while since I looked at that book, honestly. Caught Arabis from Morocco. Okay. I'd like to start pushing pawns on the king side. do it. At least get rid of some back rank mate threats. I think getting rid of a pair of rooks could be good for me here. If he goes rook d3, I think I'll just sit with queen e2. He can grab this pawn. I'm trying to get him to trade off a pair of rooks. I did not foresee this. Well, let's trade a pair of rooks then. It's not looking good, folks. Not gonna lie. Whew. He can always just start pushing pawns on the queen side. I don't see what's to be done here. He's giving me some amount of counterplay though. Probably queen e4. I can make his king a little less secure by just taking that bishop on f6. Maybe threatening perpetuals. Okay, he's got some loose bishops here. Oh, he's planning on taking that with his queen. I suppose I'd better do something about that. I don't know what's to be done. It's an accurate move. Oh. Hmm. Okay. Take it with check. My king goes to g1. He doesn't have any useful checks. I'm on f7 and I'm on that bishop. That's a good move. I'll still have to go king g1 if he... Okay, this kind of shuts some things down. But opens up that bishop. Oh, it's getting resignable. He's got everything covered. He's just being very careful to have everything guarded. The only unguarded piece of his is his a5 pawn, which is not really relevant. Okay, what does he have in store for me here? Who takes f5? Or that? Well played. Well played. Not on my behalf. All right. Painful part's over. Let's look at how we can improve. a6. Strange order of moves here. But transposes to stuff that I should know. I've seen this idea before, knight c5. How to fight that? It's a useful idea. Maybe I just need to go bishop c2 here. But that allows him to play d... No, that doesn't allow him to play d5. d5, e takes d5. That pawn is pinned, so I've got too many pieces on d5. No, not after bishop. After bishop to c2. Knight d4. Yeah, if knight c5 didn't cover e6, it wouldn't be that great of a move because I could sacrifice on e6 here and cause black a lot of trouble. I just went right for it. Rook d1 is maybe better here. I'm curious. Maybe I had some sacrificial wins that I missed. We could learn a lot from this. So I'm going back. It wasn't interesting after a certain point. Let's do the analysis. Half death. Whatever. Still better than us. Tough game. Your opponent played well. Only one blunder by him. D6 is inaccurate. Do I just go straight in for E5 here? And then he gets D5 in. Okay, castling is good. It likes bishop f4. I should have gone for that, perhaps. I talked about bishop f4, making him play e5. b4, funny enough, also looks plenty good here. Just keep that knight out of c5 and gain a little space. No, b4 runs into queen c7. I don't know, that's complicated. I'm interested in looking at that. It says I've got a pawn advantage here. What's the deal with this? Queen b3 is good. Queen e2 is a mistake. Okay, computer gives me a big swing there, more than a point, and now it's in black's favor. Bishop f4 is best. So that knight blocks the queen's guarding of the d-pawn. Now I think that knight c5. Knight b6 works. Well, knight c5 also. That can now be met by b4. It likes this, kicking the bishop. b5. Bishop b3, and then knight b6, maybe? Still knight c5. e5. d5. Now bishop c2. But what if he puts this in first? A takes b3, and now d5. Knight takes b5. Oh, of course. So black has to give the pawn up. So yeah, exchanging on b3 produces a pin on black's a pawn. So e5, d5, and now bishop to c2. And I can just kick that knight at some point. He kicks mine first. That's no good. I can drop my knight here and get to d4. It still likes white. I mean, look how far black is from castling still. Knight to e7. Planning knight g6, hitting this bishop. Knight d4. Knight d4 is inaccurate now. Bishop g3, just anticipating that. Knight c6. Knight d4. We trade off some pieces, but now white is completely developed and has some initiative. Knight back to d7. a4. Yeah, it's hard to see white's compensation here, I gotta be honest. It's hard to see the compensation. I guess part of the compensation is like about that thorn on e5, which prevents his knight from ever coming to f6. And I've got my bishop is a beast on c2 there. His extra pawn is pretty good. I mean, it's a central passed d-pawn. So it's interesting to look at the ideas here and try to figure out what it is that's so great about a4. Doesn't want to open this up, doesn't want to trade. If trades, then knight takes a4. A mistake. Bishop takes a4. Oh, pinning that knight, sure. Yeah, still. There's also just like bishop c5. Queen g4. And now if he castles, then you've got this, which wins a pawn. It keeps your good position. Okay. Okay, let's get back to the game. Although I don't want to. We're still not back to the game. Okay. Queen e2 is a mistake. b5 is best. Bishop b3 is inaccurate. Bishop d3 instead. That bishop is just kind of a deadbeat after a move like e5 though. Black playing e5, I mean. And bishop e7. a3. I wouldn't think to play a3. What does it think about knight g5 here? No, because it anticipates knight to c5. a3 is just to get that bishop back once he plays knight c5. No, the bishop still comes to c2. Don't read too much into these computers, especially as quick as I'm going with it. Knight c5 is an inaccuracy. b4 was better. f4 is inaccurate. It really wants white to play b4. Wants me to play b4 here. I thought about that. That actually makes some sense. That move did cross my mind. If he wants to attack that, he needs to play d5. And now this pawn is rock solid. And I can continue with my plan. Or once I play bishop here, which should still be a good move, then once I play my bishop out somewhere, or play this rook to d1, have that knight guarded, I can play this, or maybe just king h1, and I'm threatening e5. There's not so much of a threat, but I can give white some problems with king safety. Black some problems. Okay. Bishop to e3. Right. Stopping that queen check. Now what if he just takes here? A blunder? The tactics must work out for me. Queen g4. Ooh, that hits both of those. Okay. Interesting how my knight and bishop cooperate and these pawns to take away all the squares in that file. If bishop, same thing. Yeah. Knight takes a6. Okay. Probably queen e4 works as well. g4. No, because then knight comes back to f6. And this is not so bad, because the rook is going to have an open file. Okay. Wait, so much to learn, everyone. Okay. Yeah, bishop belongs on e3 in a lot of Morra lines. Don't worry about him interfering with this queen's guarding of e4, because there's usually tactics. Black castles. And then we just put our rook on the queen's file. Queen to d7, and our other rook can come here and probably, you would think, sitting pretty. Now knight takes e4 works, because black is castled. Rook c1 is an inaccuracy. Rook f to c1 is best. Interesting. I want to keep that rook on the a file on that weakness. What about rook to d1? Okay. Yeah, that was the big blunder. It was a simple thing to miss that and to just continue with our plan and ignore what our opponent is doing, which is obviously going for a fork here. So yeah, I gotta work on my tactical awareness. Unguarded piece. It's funny because I had noticed I couldn't take the pawn on b4 because of the check on b6. Once the queen came to c7, I didn't see that there was a check on c5. So yeah, even king here is probably fine. Inaccuracy, but yeah. After this, we're just... After bishop g5, we're just completely lost. The rest of the game, I'm sure that... Yeah, nothing we did was going to make much of a difference. Even once he sacked the exchange. Rook to g1 is excellent. Okay. Rook to e3 would be better. Queen h5 is a mistake. I suppose once he sacked that exchange, there's something to be said for trading queens here and just trying to hold the position. Yeah, I'm just completely lost. There's not much to be said here. I was hoping for a blunder. You know, I'm not a big believer in resigning when players at my level make these kind of blunders. Black played really well here at the end. g3 is a blunder. I've got to sacrifice the rook. Right, because of this. Okay. Well played at the end by my opponent. Better sign off. Better quit for the night, I suppose. We'll talk to you later. Stay feisty.